So somebody asked me a couple of days ago, and he said, how did you come up with this business model? And if you think about what we do, it just makes logical sense. We basically started the business through it was a junk removal business. Okay. The junk removal business, I was using it just to get by and to make my bills and to build some equity up so that we could go ahead and go back into the real estate business, which we are in the real estate business. It's not our primary function. We use that. It's kind of like our 401k. So what happened is we're doing this junk removal thing. We're in Cape Coral, Florida, and I want to keep control of my time. So I don't want to go work for someone. I don't want to go work for somebody 9 to 5 and make, $10 an hour or $20 an hour, whatever. It doesn't matter. And what I wanted to do is be able to work and keep my head above water and to live and to build equity build up some cash so I could buy trucks and stuff like that. And so here's what happened. So we are recovering, coming from Clearwater, Florida. My parents were living up there, and we were kind of hanging out with them for a while and living cheap. And we came back to Cape Coral basically because, that's where I was investing in when the market took a crap. I was working here and working up in Ohio as well. And then the market, like I said, it just came unglued. It got to the point where there was just nothing I could do. I mean, the market, my credit was perfect. And then one day, you miss your first $500,000 coming in, and you miss your first set of payments, and you're toast because you have no credit worthiness anymore. And nobody back then really knew how big this problem was. So what happened was this: we're squatting in houses. Okay. Squatting is a trending item right now. We were squatting in the traditional sense of just showing up in somebody's house and going in there. What I did is I called guys that I knew who had multiple properties in Cape Coral. And I said, hey, you got that property over on such and such street. What are you going to do with it? And they're like, well, it's in foreclosure. And I'd say, hey, any chance I could stay in that house until they foreclose on it? And they'd say, hey, what do I care? It doesn't matter to me. So I said, well, here's the benefit. I'll mow the grass. I'll keep it up. I won't piss off the neighbors and all that kind of stuff. And again, they were like, oh, what do we really care? It doesn't matter. No, we don't live there. So this one particular house, we went in, put the hot water heater back in. We shoveled out all the dog shit, sanitized everything, fixed the 1 or 2 windows, put the fence back up, mowed the yard, made friends with the neighbors, and off we went. So what we started to do is, we're trying to keep things as cheap as possible. We really didn't have a choice. We didn't have much money. I was terrified to stick Logan into public schools. I was so afraid of the drugs. So I put him into a Christian school there, and it was like $500 a month. So my priority was him, and then something to drive, and so on and so forth. So we bought this. I had this Ford SUV Explorer, and I bought a little $100 trailer that somebody had. They actually had it. It was so small. It was the Costco trailer is what they said. It was in a closet. So they picked it up, brought it outside, and then I built a wooden frame on it. And that's what we used originally to start this junk removal business. I have pictures of it on my YouTube site. So went from, I had like eight late model cars when the market crashed, and then I went back to zero. So what I did, this is the way I did it, is I zeroed out. I paid out all the contractors that I owed money to, and sat down with the lenders that owed the most properties. And I said, this is where we're at. I don't know what to do. So a lot of them, I signed the properties back over to them. Some of them, they had to take them back a certain way, and so on and so forth. I sold 150 of them. I had a lot. Sold a lot of them really quick. Just dumped them, got out of them. I had lots and lots of equity, and then all of a sudden I didn't have anything. Couldn't sell anything for anything. It was terrible. So the only blessing in this whole thing was the fact that I ended up coming to Florida and living here because I love Florida. I love being outside. I'm an outside kind of a person. And, the majority of the time here is sunny. It is hot. That's the trade-off. It's hot and you got to deal with these stupid hurricanes. So the hurricane last year kind of handed us our breakfast. So, we actually had 13 properties get flooded from that hurricane. So it took us like all year to renovate them. And we're still dealing with that on with permits and stuff like that. So at any rate, so here's what we did. So I'm looking to, I had no idea that this was going to grow into what it has grown into. So we're trying to survive. I'm trying to figure out how to get stuff. So I'd be driving around and doing something, and I'd drive by and they're emptying out a house. They're taking the whole house and setting it on the curb. I'm like, holy crap. So what I did is I took my truck and went over there, and while they're doing that, I'm like, well, lost my pride and my dignity for a while there, which now I don't think of it that way. But I just go over there and got all the things that I knew that I could sell really easy and load them on my trailer. And I'd leave there and I'd look like the neighborhood junk man, that guy that nobody pays attention to, who drives through your neighborhood and nobody cares about, and so on and so forth. Well, that was me. So I'm living in this high-end neighborhood. Lose everything, live in the neighborhood next door to that. And I drive around at night and pick up stuff. I pick up stuff off the curb when they're cleaning out these foreclosure houses. And I bet I sold 1,000 mattresses over a few years. So everybody was hurting. Nobody had a job, And we'd get these mattresses and make sure they didn't have any stains on them or any bed bugs or anything, and we'd put them up for sale. And a lot of times people would get off an airplane. They bought a foreclosed house, and they were, they're penny pinchers, so they don't want to go get a hotel room. They want to stay in that house. They're calling us at 11 o'clock at night and saying, hey, can I come get that mattress from you? And you're like, cool. And they say, hey, what would you charge me to deliver it? So we're running out at 11 o'clock at night, bringing them a mattress for, $150. And we did a bunch of that stuff. So basically what we did is we went into these houses. Logan took the master bedroom. I took the smallest bedroom, and I still piled stuff up in my bedroom. And we just lived and ate, drank, and lived, and thought we were going to go back into the real estate business. So I'm doing a bunch of stuff with real estate marketing stuff, finding people who want to buy properties and so on and so forth, and helping them buy them and making a little bit of money. And then finally, that didn't make sense anymore. Okay, so here's what we did. We lived in these houses. We're squatting, so I have no rent. I had the 2-car garage was full. The not the master bedroom, but the living room, the kitchen, the extra bedrooms, and they were just full of stuff. And then we would have a storage unit here and there. I would go and approach people who had commercial property. I'd seen it sitting up empty for a long time, and I'd work deals out with them and say, look, hey, what if I give you $500 a month? I know it's 4,000 square foot. I'll pay you in cash. I will never miss a payment. You'll never chase me for your rent. And the minute you have somebody for this, we'll get out. If you want to send them over and they want to walk through while we're here, that's fine. We can move pretty quickly, and we learned how to move pretty quickly. So we're running around picking up anything we can get. Then I couldn't get enough stuff. I'm like, holy crap, this is like print money. It's not sexy. It's not something you're going to go around and brag about to people, although I did, because I couldn't believe it. I started picking up things. I would go, I ran junk removal ads. We'll going back to the house. So I got a cheap place to live, no car payment, no house, no rent payment. I just had to pay the utilities, keep the Wi-Fi on, so on and so forth. So we started doing eBay and Craigslist back then. I tried some of the other stuff. I tried the OfferUp and stuff like that, and nothing ever really worked as well as Craigslist and eBay. So if it was small enough to ship, I'd put it on eBay. and you would get crazy money for stuff. I just stuff. You go in a garage in a garage in one of these foreclosed houses, and the stuff in the garage would be worth stuff that was sitting up on shelves and stuff could be worth, by the time you got everything together, could be worth $3,000-4,000. Inside the house, a lot of times they were picked over. The best stuff was already gone. People had scavenged it already. But there's a lot of things. There were bigger things like couches and refrigerators and stoves and washers and dryers and stuff like that most people weren't going to be able to just fit in their cars. And we would get those, and I would test them. And I learned through doing this for a long time that about 95% of them were working from those scenarios. So we're doing that, and we started doing junk removals. I started running ads on Craigslist that said free junk removal. I want your unwanted stuff, and I'll trade you off some of my work for blah, 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 blah. But I also did it as paid junk removal, very inexpensive junk removal, blah, 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 blah. And I just advertised on Craigslist. And then I couldn't get enough. So then I bought Core Plast signs from Vistaprint. So what I would put on there is junk removal, unwanted item removals, very affordable prices. So what I would do is I get on the phone with them and say, what do you got? And I say, hey, this is what we do. And I'm going to do it for a very good price. And what I'm looking to do is I'm going to take that stuff and I'm going to resell it. Now, I don't know why it's done this way. I don't know why the junk removal companies don't do this across the board. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think that every junk removal company should be probably attached to a thrift store or a resale shop, because I would go do a junk removal and I'd get paid $300 to do it, and I would pick up $3,000 worth of stuff I could sell. Florida has a problem. The problem is the property values are so expensive and there's no basements here. So the amount of places that you have to store stuff is very minimal. So what would happen is I would go in and clean all this stuff up and I could resell it all. I found that if I was up front and transparent and forthright with people, hey, what are you going to do with this stuff? I'm going to resell it. Take it to Cape Coral and resell it. They could care less. As a matter of fact, most of the people were excited about it. They do not want to throw this perfectly good stuff away. They certainly don't want to pay to throw perfectly good stuff away. And that's kind of the birth of the junk removal part of what we were doing. So what that did is it allowed me to get some traction. So we bought our first commercial truck, and then we bought a dump trailer, and then we bought a box van. And then we realized something, because we were running as Sam's junk removal down here for a while. Then we realized something. We're finishing up a junk removal, and they got us to do it for cheap. So what's the next thing they want to do? They're like, okay, hey, we're flipping this house. We need to take all this stuff out of here. Who do you know takes out kitchen cabinets or tile or bathrooms or whatever? And I'm like, I don't know. I'll do it. So backing up maybe a year prior to the time that we're talking about right now, I'm driving down the street. Somebody put a kitchen cabinet set out on the curb. And I was headed somewhere else, and I just turned around, went back, and I loaded it up. And one or two of the boxes were broken. Well, I'm a general contractor. That's no big deal. So I'm thinking, I wonder if this is worth anything. I wonder if I'm just wasting my time. So I put that kitchen cabinet set up for $500. I did that. I put it up like at 8 o'clock at night. Somebody called me in a big fat hurry and needed it right now. And I'm like, it's 9:30 at night or 10 o'clock. I'll be there shortly. So here we are, 11 o'clock at night, loading up this kitchen cabinet set. They didn't even squabble on the price. They just flipped me $500. I'm like, hell yeah. I'm like, this works. So next day or so, maybe it was a little longer than that. I don't remember exactly. But basically what happened is I'm walking through a house. The lady says, hey, who do you know that can take these kitchen cabinets out? I looked at them. They were way nicer than the ones I just sold for $500. I'm like, I'll take them out. She said, how much? I said, how about $300? She said, game on. Will you take them with you? I'm like, yes. So instead of taking them out in 5 minutes and beating them up, I took them out very carefully. It took me hour and a half, put them in my truck. The countertops were Corian, so I could handle them by myself. And I put them on, and it took, 2 weeks, but I sold them for $1,000. And I'm like, wow, kind of a lot of work, but that's a pretty good payoff, because also I'm doing all these other things and I'm selling all kinds of other stuff, and I'm starting to gain some traction. So I'm working for another guy. This guy says he's really, we love him to death. He squeaks when he walks. Okay, he wants to get everything done for half price. Just crazy. So and desperate people do desperate things. Even if I had to work twice as hard for something, I was willing to do it because I wanted to get my wheels back on. So we're doing work for him. We're doing a junk removal for him, and removing materials from a job that he just finished up. And he comes to me and he says, "Hey, dude," he says, "I see how you work." He says, "I'm in a pickle. I have a tile guy coming here on Monday." This is like Thursday. He said, "And I have to get this tile taken up before he gets here, or he's going to push me off again until the tile's gone." He says, and first of all, anybody down here that's worth their salt is busy. Anybody that's inexpensive is very busy. So he's probably getting a good price from this guy. He's not, he doesn't want to take the tile up. A lot of these guys that are craftsmen, they don't want to take the tile up. So what he did is he said, "Look, is there any chance that you would take this tile up?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't have the tools to do it. I guess I could rent them. I've never done it before. I don't know what it's like." I said, do you want the thin set up too?" He says, "No, he's putting in something where he's going to put a thick bed of thin set down." He said he doesn't need it. So he's putting in marble or something. And I'm like, okay. I said, "I got a buddy. He's got a 60-pound jackhammer. I could probably borrow that from him and do it with that." So I borrowed, from my buddy Willie, I borrowed a 60-pound jackhammer. So I'm doing tile removal with a 60-pound jackhammer. And if you know anything about tile removal, you don't do tile removal with a 60-pound jackhammer. It is overkill. And it weighs 60 pounds. So it's 60 pounds plus the bit, which is probably 10 pounds, and you're carrying it around all day. So I'm younger. I'm pretty fit for a guy. I've always been fairly fit, although I've gained a lot of weight. But at any rate, so I do it. So he said, it's 2,000 square feet. He said, "I'll pay you $1 a square foot." And I'm like, man, I wonder how long this is going to take me. So it took me personally a day and a half. Logan and them guys, when they got off work, they helped me shovel everything into the dumpster. And so basically I made $2,000 in a day and a half. Now, back then with what we were doing, that was like winning the lottery to me. It was a big gain. And then I'm sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, this is pretty cool. So then I had another guy ask me to do some tile removal, and I just thought I was going to powerhouse that. And I was using the same jackhammer again. And one of the guys that was putting in tile, he showed me, he brought out his equipment and showed me what he did and how he did it. So I just duplicated that. So the tile removal part of what we do is another way to make really good money. The cool thing about that is you don't need a license in the state of Florida. Probably don't need a license anywhere to take up tile. Probably never going to need a license anywhere to take up junk removal either. It's not, no license is required here either. So when I'm talking about license, I'm not talking about a business license. I'm talking about an additional license that where you have to have a trade license, where you're like a certified general contractor or something like that. So you don't have to have that. So these are very profitable things, and they're in demand, and they're probably always going to be in demand. Now, when I was doing junk removal, just as a side note, there's not a lot of money in junk removal. There definitely is not, because we tried to use that as a primary business. There's just not. And if you're not reselling stuff, I don't know how it makes any sense. Now, I've seen everybody and their brother start junk removal businesses now, and they got $100,000 trucks. And I don't know, man. Maybe they know something I don't know. but I don't see it. I don't understand how they can do it. I see them struggling nonstop because all you're doing is going and picking stuff up. If you're not reselling this stuff, I don't think it makes any sense at all. But if you are reselling this stuff, I think you're going to kill it. So it's just a different way of doing it. I don't understand why that just is not part of the junk removal business. Back to our journey. So now we learned to do junk removal. We learned to take out tile. We're taking out kitchens. And I figured out, you know what? I think this is crazy. But I said to Logan, I said, I don't know. I think there's a business in this. So I'm looking around to see if anybody else is doing this. So we started doing interior demolition, including flooring removal, junk removal, all the way through. So you're going to renovate a property. So we'll show up, we'll get rid of all the rest of your junk. We'll take out the kitchens, we'll take out the baths, we'll take out the flooring, we'll take out the 1 or 2 walls, we'll take out the popcorn ceiling. We'll do it all, bing, bang, boom, bring a box truck, a dump trailer, so on and so forth. And that's what this evolved into. And here we are. We were affordable demolition for a couple of years since 2010. 2014 is when we started and rebranded because we thought we had something that we could market long term. And this is where we're at with this. It took us 10 years of running wide open that we finally said, okay, we're going to go ahead and see if we can't move this across the state and teach other people how to do it. So that's what we're doing right now. So 2010. So this is 2024, 2014, that makes 10 years plus another 4. So we've been doing this for about 14 years and at some version of it. So taking junk removal all the way through to the demolition, but with a spin, with a twist. We're giving value to the stuff that people have, and we're bringing that stuff to our shop, and we're putting it on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and eBay and selling it. And it works. It works. And that's where we're at with this. Now we want to scale it. We want to go to the next market and the next market and the next market and the next market. That's what we're going to do. We may take it all over the country. I don't know. I don't know what opportunities are going to unfold in front of us. I didn't think that this would work. I had no idea that this was a business, and here we are. So, it's Remove It Pros Demolition, Dave Lockwood, and I'll see you on the next video.